Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United transfer news. Is it the end of the Frenkie de Jong saga as Chelsea get deep into negotiations with Barcelona to take Frenkie de Jong to Stamford Bridge? It's now coming in from good sources. It's coming in from David Ornstein, and you've got to start taking notice of it. We mentioned it yesterday morning from The Athletic anyway. These Chelsea stories are starting to grow. Where does it leave Manchester United? Very, very interesting. Renato Sanchez is going to PSG, by the way, for 15 million. Remember, we spoke about him as another option. United are putting themselves out of options, but I'm not going to get angry this morning. It's not over yet. I still don't think it's over till it's over. But what we do know is, and what nobody in the chat can say, welcome to the Members Club, Damien and Ray, nobody can say that we've got a plan B or a plan C or a plan D. In fact, we do have a plan D. It's called plan D because it's plan desperation. We will probably go for somebody that Ten Hag doesn't want if we don't get de Jong, because Man United have made it very clear for the last 3 months publicly that this summer was a big summer, that this is a new United. In January, they said they didn't spend because they were keeping money back for the new manager in the summer. What a load of nonsense. They flew to Barcelona, Murta and Arnold, and got pictured there. They've consistently put it out there that they're putting other deals on the back burner to work on the de Jong deal. They've gone more than balls deep on this. They've gone feet deep in this de Jong deal. And if it doesn't happen, I'm sorry, there's many, many permutations as to who's to blame. But the reality is, this would be worse than anything Woodward and Judge did. This would be shambolic. The season starts in 3 days' time, and we don't have a midfield. In fact, we've got McTominay and Fred. And people want to talk about Ronaldo wanting to leave being a bad thing. Funny thing is, this morning's show was going to be about some information we've had around the Ronaldo situation at United, which is pretty explosive in itself. Effectively, conspiracy theory or not, United do want Ronaldo to go. It's just a public facade. And actually, there's a lot of problems behind the scenes at United, which we were going to be talking about this morning, which we will talk about this morning, but we've got to lead on the Frenkie de Jong story. Suffice to say, United, behind the smiles, is disintegrating this summer. It's a mess. It's a shambles. People are still smiling, but it's an absolute mess. We'll talk about that in a bit. We'll also talk about this new share scheme that the Manchester United Supporters Trust is working on. Is it a good thing, a bad thing? We'll talk about that. But unfortunately, the big headline this morning, welcome to the Members Club, Ethan, is, and we can't avoid it, the big story this morning is this. It's coming in from David Ornstein, arguably the best source for transfer news this summer transfer window 2022. When he talks, people listen. Chelsea are in talks with Barcelona for Frenkie de Jong and hope to strike a deal. There's also further information coming out that Barcelona would do a deal with Chelsea for 80 million euros. Our deal is 85 million euros. Chelsea will get him for 80 million euros. Why are Chelsea getting a better deal out of Barcelona when we've sat there like a bunch of prats for 3 months waiting for Barcelona to pay de Jong so we can get him to us? Why are Barcelona mugging us off? Because Barcelona are a muggy club, basically. I'm not talking about their fans, I'm not talking about their players, I'm talking about Barcelona and the way they've acted this summer is muggy. Bayern Munich would agree with it, Chelsea would agree with it, Arsenal would agree with it. Most people would agree that Barcelona have been very muggy. You can't trust Barcelona. And Man United stupidly think they've got a good relationship with Barcelona and have trusted Barcelona. And they never should have done that. Why would Chelsea get Frenkie de Jong cheaper than us? Because Barcelona want Alonso and Azpilicueta. And this is where we're in trouble. Because Barcelona don't want anything from us. They just wanted money. And as soon as somebody else came in with money, they'll do a deal with them if there's more they can get out of it. Well, they can get Azpilicueta and Alonso and do a little bit of a discount for de Jong. We're absolutely screwed in that situation. Barcelona will sell to who they want to sell to, and Chelsea are a more attractive sale than us because they want Azpilicueta and they want Alonso. And that's what, they've already done business with them. So we're in a really difficult situation here. A lot of people in the chat are saying, why are you not losing your crap? Because as much as it's obvious that Chelsea are negotiating with de Jong, I'm still lost in hope. It's blind faith at this point, but I'm still lost in the facts. And it is a fact that every journalist close to United will tell you this summer that the club have consistently said they remain confident and relaxed about the situation with de Jong. When people were saying to them in the middle of June, pre-season starts in 2 weeks, you've still not sorted your midfield. The message coming out was, we're confident in what we're doing. We're not going to be held to, ridiculous targets because we've took dividends or because pre-season starts. We're confident that we'll get what we want in the end. Couple that with the pub talk with Richard Arnold, the money's there to get the manager what he wants. We're confident we're having a good summer. Coupled with the fact that they quite openly let it be put out there that they weren't doing deals for Martinez and Anthony and anybody else before they sorted the De Jong deal. Obviously, they had to panic and do that in early July with a couple of deals. They flew to Barcelona. They've absolutely made it very clear that this is what their summer's all about. This summer transfer window, this big summer transfer window for United, they've made it very clear that Frenkie de Jong is the focal point and the pivot and everything about this summer transfer window. So as a United fan, you've got every right, before you get angry, to say, hold on a minute, I won't get angry until he's holding up a Chelsea shirt, because I'm still lost in this story that this is the player that we've spent all summer on, and this is the player that we're going to build a team around, and this is a player that will be a Man United player. And it's very frustrating that he's not here for the Brighton game, probably not the Brentford game, maybe not at all. But I'm not getting angry yet, because I'm still... there will be an anger, there will be a frustration, but right now, I'm still lost on the flight to Barcelona, the whole summer being about this one player. I think actually getting angry with the club at this point lets them off the hook. I'm actually going to go along with their game for a bit. Until he holds a Chelsea shirt up or until he holds a United shirt up, I'm going to go along with the game that, no, this United know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They know they've embarrassed themselves in front of everybody, but this is 3 months on a player that we're clearly getting, because if you don't get him, you go down as Dumb and Dumber, Murta, Arnold and the Glazers. Dumb and Dumberer. Like, you cannot do this to a fan base. You cannot just go into a season with a new manager and say everything's fine and not actually do anything. So I still remain convinced that Manchester United, stupidly probably, that Manchester United have got a plan. Because the plan cannot be to sit here all summer begging De Jong and doing nothing else. And if that's the plan, then Ten Hag's got to take blame. Richard Arnold's got to take the blame. The Glazers have got to take the blame, because it's a collective blame. To not have a plan B, to not try and negotiate harder. Morning, Mark. I was trying to be quietly optimistic about this season, but I'm starting to get worried, says Justin. Well, wait till you hear what I've got to say about Ronaldo. Clinton, Mohammed, welcome to the Members Club. This is going to give me flashbacks to 2021 when we spent all the time trying to get Sancho, says NTX. United are creating more sagas than the Vikings did around their campfires, says Ginger. Are you still 90% on De Jong, or does that have to come down now after the Chelsea news, says Gwydion? Well, look, logically you have to bring it down, but I haven't heard anything other than David Ornstein say, well, look, we'll talk about that in a minute. It's a good point. At one point, you said you're still 90% because there's no other club involved. If you're still 90%, you're delusional, says Michael. If De Jong goes to Chelsea, Ten Hag will be damaged. He has a relationship with Timber, who stays at Ajax. Same with De Jong, goes to Chelsea. Come on. I mean, that's a bloody good point, Remy, really. Timber owes a lot to Ten Hag and decides to stay at Ajax. Ten Hag apparently has a relationship with De Jong and he snubs him for Chelsea. I mean, it's not looking good. Those things can damage you before a ball's been kicked. I'm a massive fan of Ten Hag, but I do think that this transfer window is a catastrophe. Confident or naive, further proof of how amateur our leadership is, says Mark Callaghan. I want to be angry, but I won't because I lose any feeling for United. Frenkie de Jong is gone, says Jay. Well, look, just going back to the transfer window very, very quickly. Jack says Chelsea new owners are performing a rebuild, which they are. I mean, I want to talk about that. It's a very, very good point there from Jack about Chelsea's rebuild, because it is a very, very strong rebuild, and Jack basically saying United are doing sod all. For me, this doesn't change anything. Barcelona can negotiate with everyone. Ultimately comes down to Frenkie. Let's just hope Ten Hag has some pull. Carl, I want to talk about that. Getting rid of Ranić was a mistake. Yeah, I always said that. We would have been much better prepared without Ranić. How people can think that getting rid of Ranić was a good idea when you've witnessed the summer transfer window that we've had. One thing about Ranić is he knows how to do transfers and he knows the European market. And, basically we sacked Ranić to rely on Murta and Arnold. Jason, thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club. I can't believe how far this club has fallen, says Killane. So I just want to say two things. So just bear with me for a minute. First thing, this summer transfer window is shit. Eriksen is a good signing, but he's a free transfer that we battled Brentford for. I like Eriksen, but it's a free transfer. And it took 2 weeks longer than it should have done. He should have been at the club on the start of July. He's a free transfer. There's no negotiations. He's only just made his debut at the end of July. That was a disaster. Lisandro Martinez was actually our second choice centre-back from Ajax, and we paid over the top, even though we tried to barter for ages. He's only just made his debut at the end of July, so he's not ready for the start of the season. Malacia, we battled Lyon for, and had to hijack it late on. Like, this, Malacia, Lisandro Martinez and Eriksen can be good signings, but crappy deals. Like, they're good signings, but how we dealt with them was terrible. We're starting the season with McFred and Magaluf, and no midfield backup and no attack backup. Can you not understand why Ronaldo might say, I want to leave, this club's showing no ambition? It's not showing any ambition. It literally is showing no ambition. If you're Cristiano Ronaldo or anybody that's coming towards the end of their career and maybe have got 1 year left at the top, would you seriously want to stay at Manchester United for another year? Why would you? It's not just, oh, I want to go and play in the Champions League. It's like, they're visibly destroying this football club and pretending it's a new start. He knows more than anybody what's going on because he's there. That team is weaker than last season. And last season's team was shite. But it is weaker. I'd argue it with anybody. And it's weaker because the attack is weaker and the midfield is weaker. The defence is stronger, but the attack and the midfield is weaker. I mean, it just defies logic. It really, really does. Isn't it De Jong's choice at the end of the day? Ten Hag has been in direct conversations with De Jong, so you'd think their past relationship, there would be loyalty, says Matthew. Chelsea were in turmoil at the start of the window and were about to take a big loss against them. Hard to say, optimistic in time, says Muyad. Chelsea didn't even start their transfer window until July. They're going to spend in excess of £200 million and they're going to have the best transfer window out of any Premier League club. That is a fact. Now, to put a bit of a spin positive on this, if you want one, I'm not panicking yet. I am concerned that Chelsea are in the race because I don't think we can win against Chelsea. And that's not even this summer. I think Chelsea have beaten us for many deals for many years. Since the Glazers came into the club, I think Chelsea have beaten us on most deals, whether it's John Obi Mikel or other players. They always seem to beat us, Chelsea. They're just better at transfers. So that does worry me, I admit. But there has to be a private underlying strong point for United because all we've ever had publicly is that De Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona and he doesn't want to come to Man United. And that was the case in May. So why would you be in August still trying to sign a player that doesn't want to leave Barcelona and doesn't want to join Manchester United? And that's where logic kicks into my brain and emotion has to move aside. United have been told publicly that De Jong doesn't want to come to Manchester, doesn't like Manchester, will not play for Manchester United, and they've been told that since the middle of May. And here we are approaching, early August, and we're still there. There has to be a private conversation where De Jong and his agents have said they will come to Manchester United. There has to be one. There has to be one. Otherwise, we, Ten Hag, Manchester United's board, the Glazers, deserve every bit of criticism they're going to get. Because they have to do this deal. And that is why it may well be blind faith from me, but I have to believe we're going to get this deal because I cannot believe any football club, whether you're National League, Portuguese, Australian, whatever, pub team, it doesn't matter. You don't spend 3 months waiting on a player that doesn't publicly want to come to your club and then go, well, we thought he would come when he signs for Chelsea. There has to be something behind the scenes. Now, what I know is behind the scenes. Beryl says frustrated 4:15 a.m. in Houston. Love you, says Beryl Carpenter. Hope you're frustrated about this and not something else, Beryl. Morning, Mark. How much frustration can we take? Tellez is gone. Here we go. Yeah, he's gone on loan, Mikel Roach. I'm not talking about that. I'm not excited about paying a player to go and play for somebody else. The Chelsea spend will actually be in excess of 250 million when you add it all up if they get Fofana and Cucurella and based on what they're doing. So Chelsea spends 250 million. They're spending, I think Sterling and Koulibaly are on about 300 grand a week and they're the two top earners at Chelsea. If they buy De Jong and De Jong holds Chelsea to what we've offered him, De Jong becomes Chelsea's top paid player. He'd be on about 375 grand a week at Chelsea. So, as David Ornstein said, Chelsea are in talks with Barcelona for Frenkie de Jong, but he also clarified in a reply to a tweet about half an hour ago, that doesn't mean De Jong is agreed to join Chelsea. That just means that Chelsea are negotiating with Barcelona. The noise has always been that De Jong doesn't want to leave Barcelona, so it's still a very complicated deal. So David Ornstein's a very good journalist, but he's not saying that De Jong is agreeing terms to go to Chelsea. There is still the deferred wages, and there are still issues around that. There is also the fact that United know what they're paying De Jong if he comes to the club. And so does De Jong. So for De Jong to go to Chelsea, he might say, I'll come to Chelsea and I'll earn 300 grand a week because you're in the Champions League and I want to live in London. Or he might say, I'll come to you, but you've got to give me the wage that Man United have offered me, which is 375 grand a week, or approximately that. So Chelsea would have to make him their best paid player, probably their best paid player ever, and sort of smash their wage budget a little bit. Now, I don't know how Chelsea work. I don't know whether Chelsea would want to do that. But there is still a lot of work for Chelsea to do. They've still got to get over the deferred wages that he's owed, and they've still got to match the wages that we've offered, which they may not be willing to do. And we also don't know what the background of the conversations are that are not public between Ten Hag, Man United, De Jong and his agents. And I still hope that there is a promise or something there that he'll come to United. And I'll repeat what I've said before. Now is not the time for me, or I believe anybody else, to start ranting and raving because he's not holding up a Chelsea shirt yet. When he holds up a Chelsea shirt, that is when I think every United fan has got the right to demand Richard Arnold, John Murtough and the Glazers get out of our football club. And some people would say, well, get Ten Hag out. Well, no, because Ten Hag is a manager and he's a coach. And yes, he will learn from this. But Arnold and especially John Murtough, their job this summer was to not repeat the mistakes of the past, to be new. And you've got to throw the Glazers into that as well. And I think we've negotiated quite weakly. And maybe we should have paid the deferred wages for De Jong. Maybe we should have walked away a month ago. Like, there is ways that we could have negotiated harder. And by waiting like we have, we've completely left the door open for a team like Chelsea to come in August. If we'd have resolved this in the middle of July before De Jong went on tour, Chelsea wouldn't have even been involved. Chelsea in the middle of July, they were too busy sorting out Koulibaly and Sterling. We've basically left the door open for a club to walk in. And Chelsea have walked in and gone, yeah, we like the look of that, see you later. So it's our fault. And I see United fans out there saying, well, it's not United's fault. What more could they have done? They could have negotiated harder. Basically, United's negotiations have been agree a fee with Barcelona, say that we're not paying the deferred wages. De Jong said he wants the deferred wages, and we've gone, we'll leave you to it. Don't worry. We'll leave you to it. Come back to us when you're ready. That's not how you negotiate at the top level, because you leave the door open for Chelsea to come in and say, we'll pay the deferred wages, and we're in the Champions League. Come to us. We're Manchester United. Yes, we are Manchester United, but we're not this big club anymore. We're a big club to the fans. We'll always be a big club to the fans, but the world of football, we're not a big club. We're not in the Champions League. We're not going to fight for the title. If you want to go and get one of the world's best midfielders, you don't just agree a fee with Barcelona and walk away. You get the deal done knowing that somebody else bigger than you is going to come in and probably take him at some point. And that's exactly what we're battling now. We should have said to Barcelona, we'll pay the deferred fee. We want him in now. We should have been aggressive. And if Barcelona had said, oh no, we're waiting for another lever, we should have said, fuck off. Go fuck yourself. And walked away. Because better to walk away in early July than to lose the player in mid-August when the season started. And people will say, well, if you walk away, you don't get him anyway. But if you don't get him anyway in mid-August, you've just saved yourself 6 weeks. We've negotiated badly on this deal. Unless the private conversation with De Jong, which is not public, is that he's going to join us anyway. So we'll have to wait and see. Hi, Mark. See Ben Jacobs' tweet about De Jong and Chelsea. He says De Jong will give okay, unlike for United. Glazers out, says Emma. Well, you know, Ben Jacobs has been wrong about Koundé. So look, a lot of people have been wrong about Chelsea stuff. So I've spoken to Ben on Talk Sport and stuff, and he's a very good journalist, but I don't necessarily think that this is over yet. But I'd imagine with the bookies, Chelsea are favourites. So look, you've got to be realistic. We're definitely in blind faith zone, and we're definitely where United have been for the last 10 years, really. We don't believe, we're just hoping. Jack says that as well. Why are people surprised that a top-class player would rather go to a club that has won the Champions League, says Jake. Hey, you know what? Can I just reiterate this as well? People who are getting angry with Frankie de Jong, Why would he not want to go to Chelsea over Man United? We're shit. We're run badly. We've not won the league for 10 years. We're not in the Champions League. We're not been in the Champions League for 50% of the last 10 years. We've got crap players. We've got crap owners. Why would you want to come to Manchester United at 25 as one of the world's best midfielders? Chelsea won the Champions League 2 years ago. Like, he's got every right to go to Chelsea, which again questions why we've spent all summer on this deal. And it will blow up in the faces of everybody involved with Man United. It really, really will if we don't get him. There should have always been a plan B and C, says Jack. It's honestly a disgrace the way the fans are treated at this club. We are lifelong fans compared to these temporary incompetent CEOs who have embarrassed us for over 10 years. Fans embarrassed time and time again. It's not on, says Nick. I'm hoping we're playing the Malacia and Koundé card where the player moves to the manager and they use the other team to negotiate the deal, says Danny. I'm sure more will become clear in the next few days. If we do not get De Jong, we should never do business with Barcelona again. And we're being linked with Vardy. Says we've been linked with Vardy. Says Paul. I don't want Vardy at our club. I mean, there are morals. Do not bring Jamie Vardy to Manchester United. And I know it's a court case and everything like that, but his wife's just been to court against Wayne Rooney's wife and lost. Like, come on, you can't. I know football's what it's about football, but United have got to avoid that. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, imagine what Rooney would feel like if we did that. I just think it would be stupid. He's on 470k a week at Barca, Mark. Why would he take 375k, almost 100k? Look, Clarkey, we might be giving him more. I don't know. All I got told a month ago, Clarkey, was that the wages United have offered De Jong are ridiculous. Now, I assumed that meant it was 350 grand. It could be 400 grand. It could be 450. I don't know what United have offered De Jong. You know what we're like with wages. If they walked away, you all would say they didn't try to back the manager. It's up to Frankie De Jong at the end. We can't get Galacticos, says Emmanuel. We've been given nothing in the last 10 years to be proud of or happy with. They jeopardise our positivity towards footballing United on the daily, says Nick. People technically weren't wrong when they said Murta Madness. To quote yourself, what the fuck is this football club doing, says Rubbish Window. There is a nice little clip. I might just tweet it. So I'll tell you what, if anyone's near Twitter, for the viewers, go to my Twitter, at Mark Goldbridge. People on Twitter won't have a clue what it's all about. I've just tweeted it there. I've just said for the viewers and I've put it out. Dan, share scheme and secondary targets came out the night before this breaks. Not a coincidence in my opinion. Absolute shambles. Never trust Barcelona, says Dan Watson. People technically weren't. Hey, you know what? Can I just say about Barcelona as well? I know this club rivalry and you get pissed off, and Barcelona have mugged everybody off this summer. But I tell you what, I wish I was Barcelona. I wish Man United acted like Barcelona. I loved it when Man United were hated. You know, arrogant. You know, I'd rather be hated because you're doing things to piss clubs off than, oh, let's never do business with Barcelona again. They've really mugged us off. We're not your friend, Barcelona. You know, I don't care if we do business with Barcelona again. Maybe we can do some Barcelona business and piss them off. Like, oh, we're not playing with you anymore because you've beaten us. That's just petulance. Like, the reality is Barcelona are in a different place to us. A year ago, Barcelona were in really big trouble. A year later, they're mugging off Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Chelsea. They've mugged off everybody. A year ago, they lose their best player and they look like they're in big trouble. A year later, they're mugging everybody off. Like, I've got no problem with Barcelona. I wouldn't not work with Barcelona again. I think people who say never deal with Barcelona again, the reason Barcelona have mugged us off is because we've got crap negotiators. You know what? You shouldn't be saying don't do a deal with Barcelona again. You should be saying get rid of these crap, incompetent people who work at Manchester United. Our club may well be on a low at the minute, but Barcelona are a complete mess, says Matthew. Yeah, they look like a mess at the moment. Abhishek, welcome to the Members Club. With that Chelsea midfield, De Jong will be rotated and substituted regularly. Tuchel is ruthless like that, says Jude. But look, I don't know where this De Jong story is going to go, but I don't think it's necessarily over at the moment. And I think that Manchester United have got a very, very, very interesting few days coming up, because my main concern is that, you know, we're filming pre-season preview stuff for you. You know, I'm getting ready to do previews of Brighton, and I can't get over the fact that McFred and Magaluf are probably going to start against Brighton. And that, to me, exposes a big problem in the club. Now, my video today was actually about some exclusive information that I've had coming out of the club in relation to Ronaldo and how bad things are at the club. Not just Ronaldo. Like, everyone's putting a smile on their face, but it's chaos. And to be honest, that's not necessarily a negative thing, because it was always going to be chaotic. New manager, new ideas, new CEO, massive summer, huge issues in the dressing room, and there's so much stuff I've got to go through from a conversation I had early this morning about what's going on at United. And I feel that throwing it in half an hour into a morning show just doesn't do it justice. So I'll probably do it on the 8 o'clock show tonight, or keep it for a time when we can just focus in it from the start. But I am going to give you some bits. And the reality is this: I'm not naming any names. I don't agree with dressing room leaks, and I've got nothing coming in from the dressing room. This is not from the dressing room. This is from within the club, but it's not from within the dressing room. People who know what's going on in the dressing room, but also know what's going on a higher level. And effectively, some of the things I was told as a headline: ego and brand-focused people don't suddenly become non-ego and non-brand focused people. There are still people in that football club, playing for that football club, who are focused on the same things they were last year. They've not had a personality transplant. What's happened is they've come back with a smile on their face and a determination to be the key players in Ten Hag's system, and a determination that Ten Hag ignores or removes the people they don't like from last year. There is a massive battle going on at Manchester United with smiles on faces to try and remove the issues from last year. And at the moment, a certain group is winning at Manchester United. Now, we'll delve into that a little bit later on the 8 o'clock show, because I'm not naming names. That's not what I'm going to do. But there is issues at Manchester United, and they are trying to smooth those issues and smile those issues out. But there are still big issues. There are still players in that dressing room who want to be number one. They want to be the big brand. There are still players in that dressing room who want to be the one that's listened to over others. There are still a lot of issues there bubbling about, and Ten Hag is in control, but how long can he keep in control? There's loads of stuff to talk about, and we'll get into that. And it does have a direct impact on Cristiano Ronaldo. But what I would say is, on a global sense of Manchester United, this is not good. We are not in a good situation. It's fractured. There's so many conversations going on at United. People like Steve McLaren, his role is this. Richard Arnold, John Murta. There's a lot of conversations with a lot of players and a lot of agents and a lot of representatives trying to calm people down. Will you sign this contract? Well, I'm not happy about this. Calm down, it'll be fine. There's a lot of hand-holding, calming people down, trying to make people happy. And this is difficult, because if you try and make everybody happy, it won't work. There's people in that club who just do not like each other. It's a big conversation, and I can't really get into it now because we're talking about something completely different. But it fits in with transfers, it fits in with the Glazers, it fits in with the team and the structure of the team. There was no magic wand. Ten Hag doesn't come in and get everything right. In fact, what I got told is there is a bit of a conspiracy theory that Man United have basically written this season off. That the lack of spending has been done on purpose because the Glazers know there's this share thing coming through, which is going to generate a lot of money that they can use on the club and don't need to use their own money, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's also a conspiracy theory that basically United have just brought Ten Hag in with the job of getting more out of what he's got in the hope he'll get fourth place this year, and then next summer they can reevaluate. There's also a conspiracy theory that they do actually want Ronaldo to go because his wages are massive and some of the players in the dressing room don't like him. So although he's the best player and he's the player of the year, you get Ten Hag in, you remove Ronaldo, you remove Pogba, you remove Cavani, you remove all these big wages, you save a load of money, you don't spend much money, and you just hope that Ten Hag can get more out of the players from last year, enough to get us fourth place without spending much money, and effectively write the season off on the hope that you get fourth place. There's all sorts of things coming out of United at the moment. There's all sorts of theories, which just shows you the mess the club's in, because then other people at the club will say, no, we're desperately trying to be ambitious. We want to back the manager. We're trying to get these players in. But this is what I mean about the problem. there's not just 4 people working at Man United, there's hundreds. And everyone's got a personality, and everyone's got a mate, and everyone's got a phone, and stuff comes out. And some of these people at United are very positive, and some of them are very realistic, and some of them just care about the club, and they talk, and things come out, and there's loads of theories, but ultimately it always comes back to the fact that if you look at Man United and you compare Manchester United to Chelsea, Man United have spent about 55 million quid and are struggling. Chelsea are going to spend about 250 million quid. They're going to 3 of their new signings are going to be 3 of their best earners, and they're just relentlessly trying to go from one target to another to build a team to try and fight for the title this year. And the contrast between Chelsea's new owner and Manchester United, the Glazers, is night and day. Night and day. Which brings me on to something I really do want to talk about. I wish Erik ten Hag didn't say that line about this team finishing second 2 years ago, says Miad. Ollie's to blame for a lot of this. He was backed more than any other manager and bought in loads of rubbish on high wages, says Aram. So let me just show you this. You might not be aware of this. It came out last night. Some people have mentioned it in the chat, but it's very, very, very well worth talking about because it fits in with the current situation at Manchester United. There is talk from the Glazers and there is talk from the Manchester United Supporters Trust that there will be a share scheme where fans can buy shares in the club. Unfortunately, there is a lot of uncertainty about what those shares will bring, and we don't have the answers at the moment. So I've put a few up there. You'll probably have some for yourself, but effectively the share scheme will be Plan B shares, which means that if you have a share, you have voting rights. The issue is, if fans get voting rights, what power do they have? Because 5% power isn't much power if the Glazers still have 95% voting rights. You know, you have a say, but it's a very small say. How much voting rights will we get? Will it stop dividend payments? Don't know. Don't know. Probably not. Will it lower the debt? Don't know. Probably not. Can we change the owners or the board with these voting rights? Probably not. And does it remove the Glazers from the club, or does it make them stay longer? Well, if we're doing a deal with the Glazers to have some voting rights, it probably keeps them safer. So I have a lot of questions about this. I'm sure, and I've got no axe to grind with the Manchester United Supporters Trust who've been working on this. But ultimately, if the aim is to remove the Glazers from the football club, then taking a bit of their pie surely empowers the Glazers. And I don't see what the Glazers do good for Manchester United. We're in debt. They take dividends. We have summers like this. They employ crap people. I know some people would say, well, it's better to have a small bit of a pie than no bit of the pie, but it's better to throw the pie in the bin and get a new pie. So I don't know. Apparently we're going to vote this through, and apparently we'll get more. I mean, look, you know, let's err on the caution of positivity. Maybe we're going to get 51% ownership. We're not. All I want to know is how much this money that the fans are going to buy to get the shares will go into the club. I mean, that sounds great, but if I'm the Glazers and the club's in £500 million worth of debt and I'm taking £20 million out a year and I sell 10% and I raise 300 million and I use that 300 million to build the stadium and buy players, who's the mug? They're still taking the dividends. They still own a massive part of the club. There's still debt. And they've sold a bit to buy players. It's just win-win-win for the Glazers. So, look, I'd love to be having this conversation. We don't get invited into these sort of conversations because, you know what, we're not proper fans. We're not the proper fans. We're not at the ground. We're not in the Manchester United Supporters Trust. You know, we're not in this. We're not in that. We don't matter. So, we're not going to be in these conversations. But, you know, from somebody with a financial background who understands these sort of things and also cares about the club, I really wish that, you know, we did get a little bit more clarity on this, because unfortunately what happens is it's just a select few. If you're one of the handful of people on the Man United Supporters Trust, you're representing all of the fan base and saying, sign up to the Man United Supporters Trust if you want to buy shares. We're negotiating this. But what if you don't agree with that? What if there's issues with that? Like, I don't know. The solution is to not actually have this. I'm not actually that bothered about fan share ownership of Manchester United. I just want owners like Man City have got, like Chelsea have got, like Liverpool have got. If we had an owner that cared about the football club, we wouldn't care about fan share ownership. Fan share ownership in itself generates a lot of problems because we're divided in the fan base. If I owned Man United with all of the United Stand community, there'd be other people going, they don't fucking represent me, Forest fan. Blah, blah, blah. But then if you got an arsehole who we don't like owning Man United, I'd be like, they don't represent me. But everyone supports Man United. So, again, it's just a massive, massive topic, isn't it? Mark, does this mine no more players in? No, we will still sign players, Jamie. Mark, did you see Eric Ten Hag's comment on the players leaving early from our last game? He's really not having it, says Jonathan. It's a fake quote, isn't it? I don't think it's a genuine quote. Apparently it's a fake quote. But there is a quote. I don't condone Man United players leaving early against Rayo Vallecano. It's unacceptable for everyone. We're a team and you have to stay until the end. I don't know whether that's true. I mean, the source looks absolutely shit. Let me have a look. I don't know. I don't know whether that's true. If it is true, then it doesn't make sense to put that out. It just doesn't make any sense. If that's true, then my mind is blown. My mind is completely blown because it contradicts what the club have said. The club said they had permission to leave early. Ten Hag is contradicting the club, generating an issue 3 days after a pre-season friendly where it really doesn't matter. It's just, you know what? It's chaos. It's absolutely chaos. And if he has said that, then I don't have a problem with it. But it contradicts everything that was said at the ground and everything that's been said by the club since. So it just shows you exactly what I'm talking about. What a mess this football club is. Like, I go back to that little clip I've put on Twitter. What the fuck's going on at this football club? Like, it's a mess. An absolute mess. You've got players leaving early that the manager doesn't want to leave. You've got the club saying it's okay, probably trying to, keep it calm. Then you've got the manager 3 days later doing an interview saying it's not okay. You've got De Jong. You've got Shares. Oh, my God. If you knew some of the stuff I was told this morning, I mean, you will know. I'll tell you at 8 o'clock. But it's just an absolute shambles. An absolute shambles. Like, why is Ten Hag doing that as well? Like, you've just thrown your club and players under the bus. I mean, in a way, it's good because he's showing them who's boss. But you've made the club out to be liars. The club came out and said that they were allowed to go. Oh, I'm getting that we get in Ruben Neves and not Frankie de Jong. Then I can believe this rubbish, says Jamie Stewart. Ronaldo got permission from Ollie, says Nemo. They're publicly forcing Ronaldo out to stick with the dross. We're finishing anywhere between 6th and 7th, just so everyone knows, says Ty. Well, look, I'm going to talk about it more in depth at 8 o'clock tonight, but I suppose I may as well drop it in now. Effectively, what I was told this morning is that publicly United are saying that they want Ronaldo to stay, but privately it's very, very different. There's people in the dressing room who want Ronaldo out because they fell out with him last year and they know that they can control the dressing room better with Ronaldo not there. There's people in the club that want Ronaldo out because he's on massive wages and they'd rather get rid of those wages. And as I said, there's a conspiracy theory that and I'll tell you what I was told, there's a conspiracy theory that actually United are just saying publicly we don't want Ronaldo to go, but privately they're doing everything they can to force him out, giving certain people the captaincy, saying that he's going to be on the bench, also not buying players and making the team look worse than it did last year, knowing that he'll go, Ronaldo's one of the most ambitious footballers in the world, will look at that squad and go, it's worse than last year. Like, what are you doing? So there is a conspiracy theory that actually United privately are doing everything they can to force him out. They're undermining him. They're benching players that he thinks should start. They're not giving him authority in the dressing room. They're saying that they're going to bench him. They're not buying players. They're purposely lowering the standards so much that Ronaldo will just go, why the fuck am I here? What are you doing with this football club? Whether that's true or not, it's just a conspiracy theory. But, as I said, who would argue if somebody came out and said, well, Man United's plan this summer was never to spend much money. It was always about cutting costs and just getting a better manager in to try and stabilise for a season. I mean, what if this summer is about saving money? We've already saved about £40 million in wages with everyone that's gone on free. If Ronaldo goes, that's another, God, how much is Ronaldo? Ronaldo's about 20 million a year in wages. So maybe the plan this summer was to save a load of money for the Glazers and then just get a new manager in to get more out of what we've got and pray that we get fourth and have a good cup run. Maybe that's the plan. They'd never publicly admit that. Maybe that's why they've spent all summer on De Jong, knowing that they wouldn't get him, and then at the end they can just go, well, we tried, we'll have to get on with what we've got now, and then it's mission accomplished because you've saved a load of money. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time United have lied to the fans. So, look, I don't know. I don't know what's going on at United. But what I do know for a fact is it's a mess. An absolute mess. It's an absolute shambles. There is contradiction and lies and secrecy and confusion, and it runs right from the bottom to the top. And just because everyone's smiling, don't fall for it. They're not. Behind scenes, they're not smiling. Things are not going well. And it's very clear that things are not going well. And even if we go into next season with a front three of Rashford, Martial and Sancho, there's no backup. And even if we go into a midfield with McFred and they do really well, there's no backup. So we're very, 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 very ill prepared for the start of this season. Hi Mark, today is my 30th birthday. I'm disgusted with the transfer window. Glazers failed transfer window, club structure, financial structure, says Pran. And any news on Sesko? Well, apparently there will be some news on Sesko this week. Are we not getting Frankie de Jong then, says Jamie? I don't know. Lloyd says the new Eric Ten Hag video has mudded you, Marky. Mate, I don't know Eric Ten Hag. And I don't negotiate transfers. I run the biggest Manchester United fan channel in the world. And we've got the biggest community in the world. And we get a lot of information. I knew that Cristiano Ronaldo was missing the Crystal Palace game on the Friday night. Nobody in the media knew until Saturday afternoon. So we do get very good information. And on Sunday afternoon, we got very good information that Cristiano Ronaldo had left with other players and had permission to do it. Now, this morning, on Wednesday, when the club have confirmed to Sky on Monday that they had permission to go. So the information we had on Sunday was correct, and it was verified through Sky and other outlets on the Monday. On the Wednesday, we're now being told by Eric Ten Hag that he's not happy that players left early. So I'm not muddied, you're not muddied, Sky isn't muddied. The club has allowed fake information to come out. I think it's embarrassing for the club. It's not embarrassing for me. I'll react to the news. I react to what the facts are. If Eric Ten Hag is now saying on Wednesday morning those players didn't have permission to go, I would say, well, why was the club happy for it to be put out that they did have permission to go? And also remember, because the Ronaldo haters are going to come back, it's not just Ronaldo who left. Ronaldo left with Delo and others. So Eric Ten Hag will be angry with Ronaldo, but he'll also be angry with all the other players as well. So look, at the end of the day, it probably fits in with what I've been told. United are actively trying to get Ronaldo out of the club. And if Eric Ten Hag has done that interview, he knows exactly what's going to happen with that interview. It's going to turn a lot of fans against Ronaldo. So I'm disappointed with Ten Hag for doing that, because I think, one, it's going to cause Ronaldo a load of hate, and two, it makes the club out to be a liar. And you never want that to be the case. So I don't understand why Ten Hag's done that. 3 days later as well, the season starts on Sunday. Why are we still talking about players leaving 15 minutes early from a pre-season friendly on Sunday on Wednesday morning? Why are we talking about that? So Jesse says Liebridge. Look, I'm not going to fall into any traps here, because you're only as good as your information, and we had the same information that Sky and everybody else put out there. So there you go. And also, maybe those quotes from Ten Hag are fake. I don't know. Could be both. Players could have had permission from Murta or someone else. That was the area. But from Ten Hag, there's a grey area, says Joshua Bellwater. Get off the Myciel hype train. 7 years of failure, says Mac. And it's chaos at United, to sever. Why did they leave? Eric Ten Hag wouldn't have given them permission and give this interview. I don't know. Imagine if Ten Hag does a Moyes in his first season, says Akshay. Some people are saying it's a fake quote. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. All I can tell you is what we were told from the ground on Sunday that got verified in mainstream media very quickly. So it's weird, but what I would also say is, does it really... I mean, I suppose the bottom line is, even I'm falling into the trap. Why are we talking about a handful of players leaving early from a pre-season game when we're about to lose our main midfield target we've been focusing on for 3 months to Chelsea? Like, and this is the mindset of some football fans. They don't realise what they're getting their knickers in a twist about. They don't realise what they're getting angry about. It's quite insignificant compared to the fact that McTominay and Fred are starting on Sunday and probably starting every week. Like, I don't really care who left on Sunday, and I don't really care who gave permission. I care about what we're doing in the transfer window. And to be fair, United are very good at distracting you. Like the share thing last night that is so unclear has got some United fans quite excited. But you might be getting 2% of the shares with no power. Like, I'm more interested. The thing that I'm always focused on is what's the team doing on the pitch. And the team on the pitch at the moment is worse than the team last year. And there's absolutely no chance we're going to get top 4. And the only way that's going to change is if we sign some players. And at the moment, our number one target that we're going to build our team around is in jeopardy. And that's where we're at the moment. So, look, the club's in a mess. It's a shambles. And if those quotes from Ten Hag are true, it just evidences more what a shambles it is. Contradiction, conspiracy, lack of clarity. Wondering how if it's these powerful brand players that have got in the director's ears and made sure we don't get Anthony because he's a threat to them, says Glenn. Man United for many years has been a football club that is run by players. The big thing we were looking for this morning is whether it is run by players or not. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. I don't know what the rest of this week holds. It's meant to be about previews for the start of the Premier League season. Maybe we'll be talking about De Jong a lot more. I'll certainly go into the stuff I want to talk to you about behind the scenes, which I was meant to be talking about, but we got the De Jong story on the 8 o'clock show tonight. We're back at 2 o'clock as well. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Don't forget the Members Club. We've got our latest new video for the Members Club. It's Sancho versus Anthony, a deep dive into their stats. That's also where you can enter the Fantasy Premier League as well. So check out the Members section, and I'll speak to you